Yohanan, John, chapter 9. And passing by he saw a man blind from birth, and his Talmudim asked him, saying, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he should be born blind? Yahusha answered, Neither this man nor his parents sinned, but that the works of Elohim might be made manifest in him. It is necessary for me to work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one is able to work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world. Having said this, he spat on the ground and made clay with the saliva and applied the clay to the eyes of the blind man. And he said to him, Go, wash in the pool of Shiloah, which translated is sent. So he went and washed and came seeing. Therefore the neighbors and those who saw him before that he was blind said, Is this not he who was sitting and begging? Others said, This is he. Others, He is like him. He said, I am. So they said to him, How were your eyes opened? He answered and said, A man called Yahusha made clay and applied it to my eyes and said to me, Go to the pool of Shiloah and wash. And I went and washed, and I received sight. And they said to him, Where is he? He said, I do not know. They brought to the Pharisees the one who was once blind. Now it was a Shabbat when Yahusha made the clay and opened his eyes. Therefore the Pharisees also asked him again how he had received his sight. He said to them, He put clay on my eyes, and I washed, and I see. Therefore some of the Pharisees said, This man is not from Elohim, because he does not guard the Shabbat. Others said, How is a man who is a sinner able to do such miracles? And there was a division among them. So they said to the blind one again, What do you say about him, because he opened your eyes? And he said, He is a Navi. However, the Yahudim did not believe him concerning him that he had been blind and received his sight, till they called the parents of him who had received his sight. And they asked them, saying, Is this your son, who you say was born blind? How then does he now see? His parents answered them and said, We know that this is our son, and that he was born blind, but how he now sees, we do not know, or who opened his eyes, we do not know. He is of age, ask him, he shall speak concerning himself. His parents said this because they were afraid of the Yahudim, for the Yahudim had already agreed that if anyone confessed that he was Mashiach, he should be put out of the congregation. Because of this, his parents said, He is of age, ask him. So for the second time they called the man who was blind and said to him, Give esteem to Elohim, we know that this man is a sinner. Then he answered and said, Whether he is a sinner, I do not know. I only know that I was blind. Now I see. And they asked him once more, What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes? He answered them, I have told you already, and you did not hear. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you want to become his Talmudim too? Then they abused him and said, You are his Talmud, but we are Talmudim of Moshe. We know that Elohim has spoken to Moshe, but this one we do not know where he is from. The man answered and said to them, Why, this is a wonder. You do not know where he is from, yet he opened my eyes. And we know that Elohim does not hear sinners, but if anyone reveres Elohim and does his desire, he hears him. From of old it has never been heard that anyone opened the eyes of one who was born blind. If this one were not from Elohim, he could have done naught. They answered and said to him, You were completely born in sins, and you are teaching us? And they cast him out. Yahusha heard that they had cast him out, and when he had found him, he said to him, Do you believe in the bane of Elohim? He answered and said, Who is he, Adonai, that I might believe in him? And Yahusha said to him, You have both seen him, and he who speaks with you is he. And he said, Adonai, I believe. And he bowed before him. And Yahusha said, For judgment I have come into this world, that those not seen might see, and those seen might become blind. And those of the Pharisees who were with him heard these words, and said to him, Are we blind too? Yahusha said to them, If you were blind, you would have no sin. But now you say, We see. Therefore your sin remains. Yohanan, John, chapter 10. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who does not enter through the door into the sheepfold, but climbs up by another way, that one is a thief and a robber. But he who enters through the door is the shepherd of the sheep. The doorkeeper opens for him, and the sheep hear his voice. And he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. And when he has brought out his own sheep, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, because they know his voice. And they shall by no means follow a stranger, but shall flee from him, because they do not know the voice of strangers. Yahshua used this figure of speech, but they did not know what he had been saying to them. Yahshua therefore said to them again, Truly, truly, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. All who came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. Whoever enters through me, he shall be saved, and shall go in and shall go out and find pasture. The thief does not come except to steal and to slaughter and to destroy. I have come that they might possess Chai, and that they might possess it beyond measure. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his Chai for the sheep. But the hireling, and not being a shepherd, one who does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees, and the wolf snatches the sheep and scatters them. Now the hireling flees because he is a hireling and is not concerned about the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and I know mine, and mine know me, even as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my Chai for the sheep. And other sheep I have which are not of this fold. I have to bring them as well, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one flock, one shepherd. Because of this the Father loves me, because I lay down my Chai in order to receive it again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have authority to lay it down, and I have authority to receive it again. This command I have received from my Father. Again there came a division among the Yahudim because of these words, and many of them said, He has a demon and is mad. Why do you listen to him? Others said, These are not the words of one possessed by a demon. Is a demon able to open the eyes of the blind? At that time the Chanukah came to be in Jerusalem, and it was winter, and Yahusha was walking in the Mikdash in the porch of Shalomo. So the Yahudim surrounded him and said to him, How long do you keep us in suspense? If you are Hamashiach, say to us plainly. Yahshua answered them, I have told you, and you do not believe. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness concerning me. But you do not believe, because you are not of my sheep, as I said to you. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give them everlasting Chai, and they shall by no means ever perish, and no one shall snatch them out of my hand. My Father who has given them to me is greater than all, and no one is able to snatch them out of my Father's hand. I and my Father are one. And the Yahudim picked up stones to stone him. Yahshua answered them, Many good works I have shown you from my Father. For which of these works do you stone me? The Yahudim answered him, saying, We do not stone you for a good work, but for blasphemy, and because you, being a man, make yourself Elohim." Yahshua answered them, "Is it not written in your own Torah, 'I said, you are Elohim'? If he called them Elohim, to whom the word of Elohim came, and it is impossible for the scripture to be broken, do you say of him whom the Father made Kadosh and sent into the world, 'You are blaspheming, because I said, I am the bane of Elohim'? If I do not do the works of my Father, do not believe me. But if I do, though you do not believe me, believe the works, so that you know and believe that the Father is in me, and I in him." Therefore they were seeking again to seize him, but he went forth out of their hand, and went once more to the other side of the Yarden, to the place where Yohanan was immersing at first, and there he stayed. And many came to him and said, "Yohanan indeed did no sign, yet all that Yohanan said about this man was true." And many believed in him there. Yohanan, John, chapter 11. And a certain one was sick, Eleazar from Bethania, the village of Miriam and her sister Martha. Now it was Miriam who anointed the Adon with perfume and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Eleazar was sick. Therefore the sisters sent to him, saying, "Adonai, see, he whom you love is sick." But when Yahusha heard, he said, "This sickness is not unto death, but for the esteem of Elohim, so that the bane of Elohim might be esteemed by it." Now Yahushua loved Martha and her sister and Eleazar. Therefore when he heard that he was sick, then indeed he stayed at the place where he was 2 more days. Then after this he said to the Talmudim, "Let us go back to Yahudah." The Talmudim said to him, "Rabbi, the Yahudim now are seeking to stone you. Are you going back there?" Yahshua answered, "Are there not 12 hours in the day? If anyone walks in the day, he does not stumble, because he sees the light of this world. But if anyone walks in the night, he stumbles, because the light is not in him." He said this, and after that he said to them, "Our friend Eleazar has fallen asleep, but I am going there to wake him up." Therefore the Talmudim said to him, "Adonai, if he has fallen asleep, he shall recover." But Yahushua had spoken about his death, whereas they thought that he spoke of taking rest in sleep. So then Yahushua said to them plainly, "Eleazar has died, and for your sake I am glad I was not there, in order for you to believe. But let us go to him." Tomah, who is called the twin, then said to his fellow Talmudim, "Let us also go, so that we die with him." Therefore when Yahushua arrived, he found that he had already been 4 days in the tomb. Now Bethania was near Jerusalem, about 15 stadion away, and many of the Yahudim had come to Martha and Miriam to comfort them concerning their brother. Martha then, when she heard that Yahushua was coming, met him, but Miriam was sitting in the house. Martha then said to Yahushua, "Adonai, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you might ask of Elohim, Elohim shall give you." Yahushua said to her, "Your brother shall rise again." Martha said to him, "I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day." Yahushua said to her, "I am the resurrection and the Chai. He who believes in me, though he dies, he shall live. And everyone that is living and believing in me shall never die at all. Do you believe this?" She said to him, "Yes, Adonai, I believe that you are Hamashiach, the bane of Elohim who has come into the world." And having said this, she went away and called her sister Miriam secretly, saying, "The teacher is here and calls you." When she heard, she rose up quickly and came to him, and Yahusha had not yet come into the village, but was in the place where Martha met him. Therefore the Yahudim, who were with her in the house, and were comforting her, when they saw that Miriam rose up quickly and went out, followed her, saying, "She is going to the tomb to weep there." Miriam, therefore, when she came where Yahushua was, and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying to him, "Adonai, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Yahushua, therefore, when he saw her weeping, and the Yahudim who came with her weeping, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled, and said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Adonai, come and see." Yahushua wept. The Yahudim therefore said, "See how he loved him." And some of them said, "Was this one who opened the eyes of the blind not able to prevent this one from dying?" Yahushua therefore again, groaning in himself, came to the tomb. Now it was a cave, and a stone lay against it. Yahushua said, "Take away the stone." Martha, the sister of him who had died, said to him, "Adonai, already he smells, for it is 4 days." Yahushua said to her, "Did I not say to you that if you believe, you shall see the esteem of Elohim?" So they took away the stone where the dead man was laid, and Yahushua lifted up his eyes and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me, and I know that you always hear me, but because of the crowd standing by, I said this, in order that they believe that you sent me." And when he had said this, he cried out with a loud voice, "Elazar, come out!" And he who died came out, bound feet and hands with wrappings, and his face was wrapped with a cloth. Yahushua said to them, "Loosen him and let him go." Therefore many of the Yahudim who had come to Miriam and had seen what Yahushua did believed in him. But some of them went away to the Pharisees and told them what Yahushua did. So the chief Kohanim and the Pharisees gathered a council and said, "What shall we do? Because this man does many signs. If we let him alone like this, they all shall believe in him, and the Romans shall come and take away from us both our place and nation." And one of them, Caiaphas, being Kohen Hagadol that year, said to them, "You know not, neither do you consider that it is better for us that one man die for the people than that the entire nation should perish." But he did not say this from himself, but being Kohen Hagadol that year, he knew that Yahushua was about to die for the nation, and not for the nation only, but to gather together into one the children of Elohim who were scattered abroad. So from that day on they plotted to kill him. Yahushua therefore no longer went openly among the Yahudim, but went from there into the country near the wilderness to a city called Ephraim, and remained there with his Talmudim. Now the Pesach of the Yahudim was near, and many went from the country up to Jerusalem before the Pesach to kadosh themselves. And so they were seeking Yahushua, and spoke among one another, standing in the Mikdash, "What do you think? Is he not coming to the festival at all?" And both the chief Kohanim and the Pharisees had given a command that if anyone knew where he was, he should disclose it, in order for them to seize him.